We live in a culture obsessed with being constantly in the spotlight, always visible, always moving. Stop? No way. Give up? Impossible. We're raised believing that stepping out of the spotlight means cowardice, failure, and loss. But what if I told you that the greatest act of courage isn't fighting until you collapse, but knowing exactly when to step away? Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly where the deepest wisdom lies. Sometimes it's only when we disappear that we truly find ourselves. In this video, I'll show you that stepping back doesn't mean giving up. Quite the opposite. It's a silent and powerful act of courage capable of completely transforming your life. Curious to find out how? We live in a society that seems to worship constant movement, where pausing feels almost like a mortal sin. But does slowing down really mean giving up? Look, not every pause is cowardice, and that's the secret. Sometimes the wisest move is precisely stopping to catch your breath. Think, for example, about a soccer player who notices his body getting tired. Pushing beyond limits can cause injuries, but stopping briefly ensures renewed energy to start again even stronger. Maybe you're experiencing this firsthand, that internal pressure to keep running, producing, creating something new. But you see, that demand doesn't need to dominate your life. Pay attention to people who manage to take time for themselves. They're not weak or lazy. They're wise enough to understand the importance of recharging before moving forward. Imagine a hike up a mountain. Climbing without stopping might seem brave, but taking short breaks along the way allows you to reach the top without exhaustion. Here's a secret few reveal. Strategic breaks maintain our emotional health. Without them, our minds become hostages to empty, meaningless routines, spinning endlessly like a hamster wheel. So, is it time for you to take a strategic pause in your life? You don't need to disappear forever, but maybe stepping away for a while is the first step to rediscovering the inner strength you thought you'd lost. And that's exactly the strength we'll discuss shortly. Stepping away isn't an easy decision, mainly because we've been taught that abandoning something equals failure. But pay attention. There's a huge difference between quitting out of fear and consciously choosing to step away out of courage. Think about that friend who left a stable job to travel and explore the world, pursuing what genuinely filled his heart. At the time, he was called crazy, wasn't he? But today, he's admired for having dared to do what few others had the courage to attempt. The problem is that many people spend their entire lives chained to other people's opinions. It seems that living for oneself has become rare, a luxury few allow themselves. How many people do you know who remain stuck in jobs they hate just to avoid disappointing someone? Or worse, how many accept toxic relationships out of fear of being alone? Stepping away demands courage precisely because of this. It means choosing yourself above the false comfort of external approval. You see, stepping out of the spotlight doesn't mean running away, but rather embracing a new perspective. It's like taking a step back to better appreciate a larger picture. Perhaps today you're trapped in an exhausting routine, unable to see any alternative besides continuing. But trust me, stepping back doesn't mean losing time. It means gaining space. Space to breathe, space to reflect, space to rediscover who you truly are. And there's something powerful about that rediscovery, which we'll discuss shortly. There's a question almost nobody asks, yet it's golden when we finally understand it. What do I gain by staying where I don't want to be? It seems simple, but many spend years unable to honestly answer it. The fact is, staying in a place, situation, or relationship out of fear of the unknown might seem safe, but it's emotionally equivalent to gripping a hot stone to avoid falling. The pain of staying, in this case, is far worse than the risk of letting go and trying to fly. Notice how our minds create perfect excuses to justify our comfort zones. Oh, I can't leave now, I've got bills to pay. Or, better unhappy here than risk losing everything. But what's at stake isn't just money or material stability. It's your life, your happiness, and above all, your emotional dignity. Choosing consciously to step away means respecting yourself and recognizing that you deserve more than emotional or professional crumbs. Here's a profound secret. Stepping away might be exactly what you need to reconnect with yourself, uncover new talents, or even rediscover forgotten passions. Remember that friend who gave up a promising career to pursue crafts, and today has more success than ever imagined, both personally and financially? Maybe what's missing in your life is exactly this. Creating space for new possibilities. Want to know how this discovery could radically change your path? That's exactly what we'll discuss next. Have you noticed that when someone chooses a different way of life, they're immediately criticized? Funny, isn't it, how people love pointing fingers, especially when they lack the courage to change their own lives. But let's be honest. Facing criticism doesn't mean you're wrong. Quite the opposite. It's proof that you've dared to challenge a comfortable standard. People who break patterns are seen as threats precisely because they remind everyone that living differently is possible. Think about a hermit, for example. Many say he's crazy, that he fled reality or gave up on life. But did he really? Maybe the hermit understood something most people miss. Peace of mind is worth more than any wealth or status. To truly live, we must silence external voices telling us what we should do or how we should behave. When we step away from those voices, we discover our own truth, our purest essence. Life is far too short to live according to others' expectations. Imagine how drastically your life could change if you simply chose to live for yourself without excuses or justifications. And listen, this doesn't mean abandoning everything to live in a cave. It means learning to say no to what doesn't resonate, creating space for what truly matters. After all, what might happen when you finally listen to that inner voice whispering inside you? That's exactly what you'll discover next on this journey. There's something incredibly liberating when we finally realize we don't have to prove anything to anyone. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet it's astonishing how most people spend their entire lives trying to meet expectations that aren't even theirs. Perhaps you experience this. A career chosen by parents, a relationship sustained out of fear of judgment, or even a lifestyle that seemed correct because everyone else followed it. But who said that was your truth? The courage to step away, to distance yourself and understand better, brings exactly that: freedom. Freedom isn't simply doing whatever you want, but mainly deciding what you no longer accept in your life. How many people do you know who found success only after saying no to things draining their energy? For instance, Steve Jobs had to leave his own company before returning and revolutionizing it. Stepping away gave him clarity to see a previously blocked path. Isn't it curious how we sometimes only appreciate something's value after stepping away from it? Maybe today you're so close to your problems that you can't see the obvious solution. Stepping back, breathing deeply, and observing from afar could offer the clarity you desperately need. Like reading a book too close to your face. Once you pull it back slightly, the words suddenly make sense. Want to learn more? That's exactly what we'll explore next. You probably heard the old saying, if you bend down too much, you expose your back. Unfortunately, many people spend their lives bent over, carrying burdens not theirs, accepting emotional or professional crumbs out of fear. Nobody was born to be an emotional doormat, right? That's why sometimes disappearing from view is the bravest act you can make. It shows the world and yourself that you deserve much better. Do you know what happens when you have the courage to step away from the rat race? You gain what money can't buy: perspective. It's like flying a drone over your emotional life, noticing previously unseen details. This vision is powerful. How many stories have you heard of people discovering their true purpose only after distancing themselves from external expectations? The truth few speak is that life's greatest victories aren't applauded, but silently conquered. Stepping away acknowledges that some battles can only be won within ourselves. Consider this. How many times did solutions appear only after you silence the noise and let time handle things? Wisdom often speaks in silence.